ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
Reading from chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita, title Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation, and verse number 8. Dukkham iti eva yat karma
दुखम इति एत कर्म
kaya klesha bhayat त्यजत
काय क्लेश भयात् त्यजेत्
sakritva rajasam tyagam
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागं
naiva tyaga phalam labhet.
नैव त्याग फलं लभेत्।
Dukkham iti eva yat karma
दुखम इति एव यत् कर्म
kaya klesha bhayat त्यजत
काय क्लेश भयात् त्यजेत्
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागं
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागं
नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्।
नैव त्याग फलं लभेत्।
दुःखम् इति एव यत् कर्म
दुखम इति एव अत्कर्म
कायक्लेशभयात् त्यजत्
काय क्लेश भयात् त्यजेत्
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागं
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागं
नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्।
नैव त्याग फलं लभेत्।
Prabhuji, you would like to lead?
दुखम इति एव यत् कर्म
दुःखम् इति एव यत् कर्म
काय क्लेश भयात् त्यजेत्
कायक्लेशाभयात् त्यजेत्
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागं
सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागं
नैव त्याग फलं लभेत्।
नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्. Word by word meaning. Dukkham, unhappy.
दुखम अनहैप्पी।
Iti, thus.
इति thus।
Eva, certainly.
एव certainly।
Yat, which.
यत् which।
Karma, work.
कर्म work।
Kaya, for the body.
काय for the body।
Klesha, trouble.
क्लेश trouble।
Bhayat, out of fear.
भयात् out of fear।
Tyajet, gives up.
त्यजेत् gives up।
Sa,
स he।
Kritva, after doing.
कृत्वा after doing।
Rajasam,
राजसम
in the mode of passion.
in the mode of passion।
Tyagam, renunciation.
त्यागम renunciation।
No, not.
न not।
Eva, certainly.
एव certainly।
Tyaga of renunciation.
त्याग of renunciation।
Phalam, the results.
फलम the result।
Labhet,
लभेत
gains.
gains।
Translation by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai.
की जय।
Anyone who gives up prescribed duties
prescribed duties
as troublesome
as troublesome
or out of fear
or out of fear
of bodily discomfort
of bodily discomfort
is said to have renounced
is said to have renounced
in the mode of passion.
in the mode of passion.
Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation.
the elevation of renunciation.
purport by His Divine Grace S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Anybody would like to read the purport, Prabhuji's? Mataji?
One who is in Krishna consciousness should not give up earning money out of fear that he is performing fruitive activities. If by working one can engage his money in Krishna consciousness, or if by rising early in the morning one can advance his transcendental Krishna consciousness, one should not desist out of fear or because such activities are considered troublesome. Such renunciation is in the mode of passion. The result of passionate work is always miserable. If a person renounces his work in that spirit, he never gets the result of renunciation.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Let's all chant together. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Shakha Vitamscha He
He
Krishna
Krishna
Karuna
Karuna
Sindhu Dina
Sindhu
Bandhu
Buddho
Jagatpate
Jagatpati
Gopesha
Gopesha
Gopika
Gopika
Kanta
Kanta
Radha Kanta
Dakanta
Namastute
Namostute
Tapta
Tata
Kanchana
Kanchana
Gaurangi
Gaurangi
Radhe
Devrindavaneshwari
Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute
Vrishabhanu Sute
Devi
Devi
Pranamami Hari
Pranamami
Priye
Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa
Vanchakalpataruvesya
Tarubhyacha
Kripa
Kripa Sindhu
Sindhuvacha
Devacha
Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanevyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavevyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo
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 Jai Shri
Jai Shri
Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya Prabhu
Chaitanya Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri
Shri
Advaita
Advaita
Gadadhar
Gadadhara
Shivash
Srivasadi
Adi
Gaur
Gaura Bhakta
Bhakta
Vrinda Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Rama Hare
Rama Hare
Rama
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 Hare Hare
Hare Hare
Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyang Jagannathaya Te Namo. So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha, everyone. We are meeting after a bit of a break last week because we had a temple program, and today, following on the beautiful words of the last chapter where Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is concluding, and he is concluding by giving the perfection of renunciation. Last time we spoke about renunciation in the mode of ignorance. So today, Krishna is speaking about renunciation in the mode of passion. And next verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to elaborate 18.9 on renunciation in the mode of goodness. So, Krishna, through various different methods, is trying to explain to his greatest devotee, Arjuna, about some of the inner workings of modes into different aspects: renunciation, tyaga, and so on and so forth. So here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is saying dukkham, dukkham based on some trouble you have. Like, say, for example, waking up in the morning. Waking up in the morning gives you trouble, and because of that trouble, you cannot wake up. And because you cannot wake up, some of the renunciation you wanted to do by going to Mangalarati, for example, you couldn't do. That form of klesha or trouble because of fear or because of trouble, if you give it up, then you are basically under the confines of the warm comforter, because you really do not want to give it up in this cold. If you do not give it up, it's purely because of your lack of taking the trouble, and that trouble, or in the event of not taking up that responsibility out of fear, is termed as you're trying to renunciate with the mode of passion. And that mode of passion doesn't give any form of elevation in your ability. So, what Krishna and there Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that if you're performing some activities and getting money, and you're using that money in Krishna consciousness, then that money you are getting from your job or wherever, from a business, is not for fruitive activities. It is for Krishna consciousness. So, so once upon a time, our some of our uh, acharyas, some of the uh, uh, senior devotees in Krishna consciousness, who were not aware of some of the achar needed in a Vedic life, but in their ability to do the activities, they ended up using a lot of things for Krishna consciousness. Example which is given often is often the mic is used for sense gratification, using that for rock music and things so and so forth. But the same mic, if it is used to spread the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is not considered to be fruitive. It is considered to be dovetailing everything for Krishna consciousness. When, by virtue of fear or by virtue of our laziness, if we succumb, see, that's why laziness is compared with science or darkness or lack of knowledge. Whenever there is laziness, for example, Kumbhakarna epitomized laziness. And but let's try to think about when Kumbhakarna was sleeping, he got a boon, or rather a boon or a curse, that if he is awakened at a time when he's not supposed to wake up, if you forcibly awaken him, that would be the cause of his death. But the selfishness of Ravana is so much that he knew that if Kumbhakarna has to be woken up, he is going to die. But he didn't bother to recognize that the life of his younger brother is going to be taken away if he is awakened. Forget about the fight he is going to undertake. But the extent of selfishness, Ravana, the character of Ravana, when we try to analyze some of these qualities, great personalities, or some of these unfavorable personalities bring to the table, we recognize that there are certain people in this world that are so selfish that they would go to any extent in furthering their cause at the expense of somebody's life. And Ravana did not have any love for his brother, his younger brother, who is supposed to be given protection. But he made him wake up just to fight. And when Kumbhakarna woke up at a very premeditated time, he knew that he is going to die. So when he went to fight, he met Vibhishan in the other side and he said, "You've done the right thing, brother. At least you're there to give fire when we die. Because a time will come when nobody in the other side, in the side of Lanka, is going to survive." So coming back to this point of staying in the confines of passion, anything you end up doing in terms of renunciation is not furthering the cause. So Krishna in the prior verse mentioned that anything you end up doing nitya karma, you have to do, you cannot get rid of it. So renunciation in the mode of passion is giving up, is not giving up your duties because of fear or bodily discomfort. That is not furthering your cause of renunciation. In Krishna consciousness, giving up earning money out of fear, that is fruitive activity, is not recommended. One should engage his money in Krishna consciousness. So the thought process that many people end up doing is they leave, the material world and try to engage in this or that. But if they end up staying connected with Krishna consciousness by using the Lakshmi for the purpose of Krishna consciousness, you are still doing Krishna consciousness. By not doing the work, you have a situation where you're basically under the aspect of laziness or lack of knowledge, which is in the mode of passion. And rising early in the morning under the comfort in a cold evening is very troublesome. When our devotees go early in the morning at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, taking shower and putting tilak to do the shringar, they're taking a lot of austerity. When you don't end up doing that, that form of renunciation is in the mode of passion. And in the other side, you see this situation where Ravana is doing renunciation, standing in one leg, offering prayers, seeking the boon. But what is the cause of the boon? Is to further his cause in his ability to get benefit. He really didn't want to die. So he was asking for a immortal boon. And he never ever thought that a human being, a mere human being, because at the time, most of the time, a demigods are supposed to be powerful, the Rakshasas, demons are supposed to be powerful. He never ever thought that a person, a human being, could come and kill him. And that is the reason why he was doing all kind of tricks to get benefited, because he was very selfish. And Ravana, his father, was a saintly person, but his mother was a demon. And that's the reason why when you have a conjugal relationship with a Brahmana, you become more like a Brahma Rakshasa. So he was very, 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 very powerful. And all his intent was was demoniac in nature, but because he knew the tricks of the trade, because of the Brahminical qualities he got from his father's side, he was always he was very knowledgeable. He knew that whatever he's doing is wrong, but because he was very selfish and because his knowledge was covered with darkness. Yesterday we were discussing about nectar of instruction, what's number 7, where during the time of jaundice, if sweet is given to you, because of the bile juices secreted by the tongue when you are diseased with jaundice, the sweetness is not tasted as sweet. It tastes bitter. That's the reason why when in jaundice, they give you medication and a yardstick that you are out of jaundice is when sweet tastes sweet. Till that time, you are under diseased situation. So this mode of passion gives us an artificial aura that we are knowledgeable enough, but actually our knowledge is covered with darkness, which causes us to feel the presence of being passionate about things, and it takes us away from the Supreme Personality of God. So any form of renunciation, however laziness it maybe, has to be shunned. Any form of thing which gives us klesha or discomfort has to be removed from our day-to-day life, and our method of practicing Krishna consciousness should be always active with utsaha, with enthusiasm, and always with an intent to garner knowledge, where the knowledge secreted from the Vedic literature like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, that should shed light into our acquisition of knowledge, and that will make us very clear in our ability to be Krishna consciousness. If we are covered with the darkness of ignorance, we will always have the tendency of Ravana, always being knowledgeable enough, but the intent to use it will be for the selfish nature, and that selfish nature eventually will be the cause of our end. So, as you can see, Krishna is very beautifully saying that any form of passion in our ability to do renunciation, tyagam, whether in the form of a klesha for the body, for the kaya, for the body, or out of fear for our ability to do any performing any duty because of fear, because it's raining, it's snowing,
हेलो
and we do not
हाँ
end up
बोल
doing
और
a devotional
करूँ
service.
क्या मन लगे
Eh?
वो उठ कर ही राइट
So,
ओके तो पेलो
so when
थारी
we
कहता था लोग करोड़
so when we end up doing this devotional service for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not for our pleasure, because if you see during this time of Kartik, so many wonderful pastimes took place in this world, in wherein Mother Yashoda is trying to bind his Lalla Damodar, and always Damodar is falling short when he's trying to tie. And Mother Yashoda just wants to serve and serve and serve. He had no klesha, he had no trouble, she had no fear, and with constant dedication, constant love for his child, Damodar, he was exhibiting his pastime with an intent. And that's the reason why when the devotional service is discussed, Mother Yashoda's name is always in the top of the list because she was always intending to serve with a mode of goodness. She did not bother about the trouble Lalla is giving by, stealing butter from here and there. He was constantly deriving pleasure in her ability to serve the Supreme in the form of a child. And and the klesha had gone. So devotional service, when it is done properly, brings an element of enthusiasm in our life, and that, once inculcated properly, will always uh, transcend in our pursuit of loving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, beautiful verse, which we can go on and on, but the message is not to renunciate with an intent of passion, with laziness, with something which gives us bodily trouble. We have to shun that and overcome it and end up doing. And also, the other side is not to do an renunciation with the intent to gain personal mileage, which eventually becomes the cause of our suffering. So we can go on and on, but like to end here. I think the message is very crisp by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and like to hear your comments, reflections, if any. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any comments, Prabhu?
Oh, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Udanat Pranam. Always love.
Yeah, thanks, Prabhuji, for explaining well. Basically, this is the uh, what what we are inferring from this is that the whatever austerities are, as you have rightly told, Prabhuji, and the examples you have given of Ravana and Kumbhakarna and the austere, whatever we are trying to do, if that is not, it is not centered around Krishna, Prabhuji, that is, then we are definitely there is, and there is an element of selfishness, as you have rightly told, Prabhuji. Then that will be binding, right? And that is means it's not nishkam karma, right? We have kama in us, kama of either some result or some desire, or some expectation of the result, or the desire, or expect, or to show off something that yes, I am doing this. So then Krishna has clearly basically that Nishkam Karma he is trying to tell here, that in this verse, that you are in a pure mode of ignorance, basically, if you're trying to do that way. Even rising up in the morning for the Mangalarti, um, even if we are doing that with an intent of some selfish desire, that also I think I am inferring, Prabhuji, I may be wrong, with an intent of okay, my day will go good, but not for the love of Krishna, is also a kind of basically is in the mode of little passion, what towards passion side. Of course, definitely anything done for we do towards Krishna consciousness has benefit, but there is a tinge of if the tinge of selfishness is there, then any service in the temple also, either for recognition or for, oh, I'll get benefit of this if I do this, without the love for Krishna, is also, we have to we have to we have to be very cognizant of that, Prabhuji. That is the main point which I gathered from here, Prabhuji. I wanted to share. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes. So, what happens, Prabhu? Initially, see, this bhakti is a journey. It's a sadhana. It's a, it's a, it's a sadhana bhakti, wherein it's a practice. So, initially, the waking up is difficult. So, in order to overcome it, we have to have some motivation. Initially, that Niskam angle you talked about may or may not come depending on the quality of devotee. But as you end up doing the service more and more, even if there was a tinge, but gradually you will overcome it over a period of time, and then it will become more like trying to straighten the system, or trying to sort of clean up the mess around the temple. So directly or indirectly, uh, any form of devotional service will bring us closer to Krishna, and because you are stepping out and doing some work, uh, and gradually, as you hear the verses from the Supreme Personality of Godhead's mouth, and constant dwelling on it, it is definitely going to make some transformation in us. So Gaurang Prabhu mentions beautifully, a, a child was a disciple was not willing to do the prescribed duties, and he was mentioning that once I become pure, and once I become so and so, then only I'll start doing devotional service. And then the guru, in a beautiful manner, convince him that all things may not line up on day one. So just start devotional service. Let that be a routine, and eventually you'll realize that this personal praise and all that is so insignificant in front of the loving relationship. We can gradually overcome it over a period of time. So your points are very much valid. Initially, the passion may or may not be there. Of course, when we joined Krishna consciousness, we were not at the time. We used to do Saturday Srimad Bhagavatam Katha when the temple was not there. It was a bit of a challenge, actually, I must admit. But gradually, it became regular in our Saturday mornings, and then now people are slowly and slowly unshackling from the clutches of the Maya or laziness. And they're doing a lot of service, giving up the family. So in that sense, it is definitely a progress.
Right, Prabhuji. My point exactly, Prabhuji. My point is that I know initially, as Prabhupada also mentioned in many places, we cannot directly go to the mode of goodness, Prabhuji. We have to transition from mode of ignorance to mode of passion to mode of goodness and then Shuddha Sattva. But
Right.
what here Krishna is telling is that at some point of time when we are graduating, our final aim should be Nishkam, Prabhuji.
Exactly.
That is what we should strive for, basically. Whether it will happen in a day, it will happen in a month or a year, that depends upon our desire, endeavor, and definitely and mercy of Lord, Prabhuji. But
Absolutely.
the consciousness which we should develop, basically the consciousness we should imbibe, should not be in the mode of I would say passion. Oh, I will get get this benefit. Yes, definitely, Prabhuji. We are human beings. We will have some more, because this material nature is made out of ignorance only, Prabhuji. Right? Ego, false ego, and ignorance. False ego, then into ignorance, and then into passion, and then into goodness and mode of Shuddha Sattva. So, but we should strive for that, Prabhuji. That's how I mean. At one point of time, we should strive to be do for the love of Krishna. That's where the love of Krishna is, Prabhuji.
Definitely.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other comments, Prabhuji? Prajapati Prabhu, you have any thoughts?
No, thank you, Prabhuji. Very good explanation by Prabhuji and you also.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. So let's end here. We have tomorrow. We have young devotees. They're no way junior. They're actually much senior to us in their ability to grasp, memorize 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita from Gita Parayan team, and they are doing a total 700 verse recitation in the temple. It's actually wherever Gita is recited with love, with body, mind, and words, BMW. As the kids, they're just kids by age, but actually they're way ahead, advanced. So they are going to recite all the 700 verses in our temple. It's called Gita Mahayagya, Gita Parayana Mahayagya, um, and it starts from 3 p.m. So please come to the temple and see how these little kids uh, who have taken to Krishna consciousness have recited by hearted all the 700 verses and reciting in the temple. That's next week, and next week is Govardhan Puja. Annakut has sent the flyers where hundreds and thousands of items will be offered to Govardhan, the mountain, who is Krishna himself, who gave shelter to the Vrajvasis when Indra was full of ahankar. And that is next Sunday. A lot of program around that, and also some places around that time people celebrate that around Diwali. So, so a lot of festivities inside. So please come to the temple and celebrate and do some devotional service. So with that, like to any other comments before we end? So we will offer obeisance at the lotus feet of all Vaishnavas by saying Vancha Kalpataru Vishakripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Vaishnavan ki jai. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prajapati.
Hare